Just a few years ago, you couldn't talk about the underground without mentioning Autumn. Now it's like he doesn't even exist. So why does it feel like his momentum slowed down, but the underground itself got bigger and the artists around him kept growing? Autumn was one of the early pioneers within the underground scene, one of the founders of Plug and B, along with Summers. You had projects like Retribution. You had projects like Retribution 3. You had Veron, however you say that. You had Solitary. You had Golden Child Chapter 1. You had Golden Child Chapter 2. You had Golden Child Chapter 3. These are all some of the best underground albums of all time, or at least can be put in that conversation a little bit. You can't argue like it's the best one, but it can be put in the conversation. If we're talking old prime underground, those are the projects that built Autumn his core fan base. He built that core fan base before even touching any mainstream appeal or any mainstream level. Man, you can't tell me that him and Summers were not running the underground for like, bro, it was years, bro. Some of the main underground arguments was, oh, who was better, Summers or Autumn? Summers versus Autumn. Comparing recent projects, like just talking about who can rap better, like that was a very large topic within the underground. Now let's talk about why that momentum slowed down. For one, we already know what was going on with that whole BK situation. She was 17, he was 23, I believe. But that definitely played a part into his downfall. Or let's say slowed momentum downfall. He's also had other involvements with underage girls, bro, as we've seen. Like it doesn't really stop. There are some fake screenshots out there, but we've caught, bro, maybe like 3, 4, 5 times. But in this underground, who really cares? Nobody cares about allegations no more, bro. You can have any allegation in the world as an underground artist and still be able to make it. You've seen people have grape allegations. You've seen people have pedo allegations. You've seen people have women beater allegations. Like the 3 big no-nos that flies in the underground. Because once your music passed a certain point, he was like, nah, I don't really care about the allegations. Like, he can get off with that. That was one of the main sections where Autumn really messed up as an artist, and I was like, this ain't good. But at that same time, we had songs like One Way coming out, and everything else was still, everybody still knew about the BK situation up until One Way. Like, it wasn't new information. Back then, he was at a point to where the music was way greater than any allegation that anybody could put on him, which is a crazy thing to say, but that's the world we live in with this underground, bro. Another thing I think happened too is a lot of us aged out of the music that he was making, or we got tired of Plug and B, and he did evolve and change his sound, but I feel like I don't think it was too late, but I think it wasn't enough. It wasn't good enough for everybody to be like, oh, nah, we want to hear this instead of Plug and B. When you evolve as an artist, if you want to change your sound, you need to work on that change that you're doing to your sound for a good amount of time before you release anything that's different. So then people can't be like, this is man, go back to the old sound, which artists still struggle with today. Ken Carson, Sofego, Autumn, Summers, Yeet. Everybody still suffers from this same thing, but they've all found a way to kind of maneuver their way around it and still be able to perform well streaming wise, and still be able to sell tickets, still be able to have a good fan base. And Autumn didn't really do that, even though I think he has some of the most appeal to be a mainstream artist compared to a lot of the other people in his class. He just could not make the transition. Also, the underground scene changed sonically. Like, it wasn't the same. We're in a distortion era. We're in kind of like ear candy era. It was still ear candy back then, but the beats were slower. There was more, I feel like they were more methodical. Not to say that these new beats aren't methodical and aren't well thought out and intricate, but it was a different feel to the music back then, and he didn't age along with that. He didn't really work with any of the newer producers like everybody else did that came up and has surpassed him. He kind of just stayed in his own lane and continued making the music that he's been making, which is serving him decently well, but it's not taking him to a point where we care about your music so much that we're gonna put you up here with the rest of these underground artists. Like, if you go on Twitter and just look at conversations about the underground scene at a moment in time, nobody's mentioning Autumn. Nobody cares about new Autumn drops. Nobody cares about new Autumn albums anymore. I mean, like, I saw people, like, we're gonna tune in, bro, because it's Autumn, and we like, okay, he might bring us a banger. Like, every album he gonna have a couple songs on there. It's like, okay, but it ain't the same, bro. Autumn is great though. GC3 is one of the greatest underground albums of all time, in my opinion. I think it was underground album of the year in 2023, I believe, when it released. That was definitely underground album of the year to me. I think it's kind of sad, man, how he lost his spark, bro, because he was genuinely special. Like, he was up there for most talented artists, and I believe he is 100% still crazy talented. He makes his own beats. He knows how to mix and master everything perfectly. Like, he doesn't go to, like, he spends a lot of time working on his craft. But his window for opportunity to cross into that area of mainstream, kind of like how Yeet got there, and Ken and Lone at one point. I think that window is closed, which that window closes for a lot of people. And don't get me wrong, he still has a core fan base. We're talking about an artist with 1 million monthly listeners still after being in the game for 5 to 6 years. We're talking about an artist that has a song with 100 million plays on Spotify, probably another 100 million on Apple Music, a couple million on Spotify. Like, we're talking about one of the premier pioneers of the underground. Why the underground is where it is today. Does Autumn still drop good music? Well, can Autumn still drop good music? Yes. But does he always drop good music? Not really. Is it kind of getting a little boring? Yes, just a little bit. I'm a little bored of Autumn's music at the moment. I'm not gonna lie. Like, just going down the list of these hits, we got One Way. We got Still the Same. We got Still the Same 2. Banger. We got Hate It. Banger. We got Can't Rent Anymore. Banger. We got If It Means Anything. Banger. Mind you, all of those songs I just read are on GC3 besides One Way. Then we got One Way 2. Then he dropped a One Way 3. Like, once he dropped One Way, he edged One Way 2 for like an entire year before it even dropped, by the way. Then he dropped One Way 3. Like, we're sleeping. I'm not gonna lie. Because, I mean, at this point, it's kind of getting like, okay, you're just trying to milk. You're milking, trying to get some more plays on songs. And I saw he posted something one time, and he was like, oh, okay, so I go back to this sound, and I still get less streams. Man, I'm finna just start doing what I want, putting what I want out, which is how all artists should be. You should be standing on your art. But I don't think it's a thing where you're getting less streams because you went back to your old sound, Autumn. I think it's less people are caring about your music. There's not enough demand. There's not as much demand anymore. Less people are caring about your music. They're moving on to other artists. Your plays are just declining throughout the years, and that's just gonna be what it is. He's gonna be either plateaued or he's gonna be declining based off the music that he's been dropping and his public opinion surrounding his name. But as for Autumn, he still pulls solid streams. He has a loyal core fan base that still believes he's the greatest in the underground. He still does successful tours and shows. He's still making money. He's still buying new cars. He's still flexing. He still has played an influence in the newer underground artists that we do have. He's also independent, so he's making all the money from his music. So could you say that he's falling off, or is he kind of just in a stagnant point in his career? And if I had to say, I would just go with stagnant point in the career, bro. He's been at 1 million monthly listeners for like 3 years straight. Like, he can still nostalgia bait and literally drop Plug and Beat. He could go on IG Live, preview Plug and Beat, nostalgia bait, and have everybody right back. Oh, Autumn's back. We're back. Like, bro, it's that easy. He literally did that with Louis V Everything. Then he got the Summers feat on there, even though it took forever for Summers to drop his verse, which kind of killed the hype for it. As for like nostalgia baiting and just being able to go back to that pocket, they can always do that. That's one thing I realized about all the older underground artists. They can all nostalgia bait and go back to the same old pocket that they used to be in and just get everybody back on board. Be like, oh, he's back. Bro, Yeet did it. Only person who hasn't done that and stood on their work is Ken Carson. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's only been Ken. So as for Autumn and where he stands now, legacy wise, he's Autumn. Like, you can't take that away from him. The music that he has put out, he's Autumn. So can he reinvent himself? I think he can, but it got to a point where in his music you could tell that he was just rapping just to keep the bills paid. Like, he just rapping just to get some music out, you know? A lot of times where Autumn would be like, yo, I'm finna start dropping again. I'm finna get back on that. I'm finna drop an EP every month or whatever. And he wouldn't do that. Like, whether that be label issues, whether that be him not having a motivation, whether that be personal issues, it's still not good for your career playing with the fans like that and also delaying drops. as we've seen from a lot of other artists. Like, the more you delay the drop, you think you building up hype, you're not building up hype. You're when people delay, when you delay drops, you're building up a hate mob for you. So as soon as you click that upload button, when your project go out on all plats, there's already pre-installed tweets waiting on you. As soon as it come out, you drop at 12 o'clock, 12:01. Man, this new Autumn not it. Man, Autumn fell off. Man, Autumn trash. Man, Autumn this. He need to go back to plugin B. He need to do, but go back and work with Summers. Go back work with Slay World. I don't know if he can reinvent himself. I mean, he's actually has a few times, but it's just not satisfying. It's not scratching the itch no more, bro. I don't know what about him, bro. It just ain't doing it no more. But it begs the question: does he even need the mainstream success? We've seen artists come through the underground and be at 1 million monthly listeners and be chilling. There's artists like Che. There's Osama-san. There's Summers sitting at 1 million. Skywater. There's a bunch of artists sitting at 1 million monthly listeners that are all chilling, all getting solid deals, all still being able to sell out shows, all still being able to tour, all still being able to drop albums and get a decent amount of plays. Just for Autumn being Autumn, he will always get the damn Autumn. Okay, this Autumn, you know what I'm saying? It's Autumn. But yeah, man, I just want to rant a little bit about the whole Autumn situation and where his career stands at this moment in time. But yeah. Appreciate y'all for watching, man. I'm out of here. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram at theyhatecolby, Twitter at theyhatecolby with 2 Y's, and TikTok is theyhatecolby too. Theyhatecolby on all plats, man. I appreciate y'all for watching. I'm out. Peace. Let me know what y'all think about Autumn and his career decisions or whatever in the comments down below.